Well, hello everyone. It looks like everything's working. I have to say that because I have gone live on YouTube before, but it's a new thing for me. I've created some videos on YouTube over the years, and of course I've been podcasting for the last almost 10 years actually. But live is a new animal for me, so so I had to run a few tests and everything like that. So those of you who are watching, I appreciate it, and those who you watch after the live, appreciate that too. Every equally appreciated. All of your views equally appreciated and liked, and grateful. I'm grateful for that. So what we're going to be doing is part 2 of historical gaming. So a few months ago, back in early November, I did a playthrough, a little bit of Thriving City Song. So it's a very nice, charming little game. It's a city builder, but it's about ancient, well, I shouldn't say ancient, medieval Chinese Song Dynasty. So I did start this one, November 1st, and already we're in mid-February. So I started a city back then called Paradise, right? So I started that. So what we're going to do is, I don't remember, well, one of the things that I like doing is you can go here, for example, choose an adventure, right? And then you can choose your difficulty, right? So I don't remember all the cities, all the settings that I had. So for example, if you go do it yourself, you can change the disaster rate, so like famines, I believe, and fire, those kinds of things. Change your enemy number, bandit, because there you do have to take into consideration things like raids, bandits that come and steal things, and all that kind of stuff. So you could make it completely peaceful and make it go like this and just focus completely on city building. I usually like to have some enemies around. It adds a little bit of extra challenge, and then there are all kinds of modifiers you can do, and then you have these other ones that give some advantages. So the Seal of Prudence gives you increased house taxes from the residents, but also the repair fee to build something, or repair something rather, is a little bit higher. So there are all kinds. Well, I think this is the best one. But Seal of Useless, which just gives all disadvantages, but it does give a little bit of basic happiness for your houses. And Seal of Palm, I guess this just means it doesn't really give anything. I don't remember what advantages or disadvantages I gave to myself, so I guess I'm playing a little bit blind. Well, not blind, but a little bit, semi-blind. Have to wear glasses because I don't know exactly. So here are some other saves that I have that I've been playing, but this one I've kept specifically for the live. Okay, so let's load this one. So everyone, I hope that you are doing well. It's been recently I uploaded audio versions of my podcast episodes to YouTube. I never really thought of using the YouTube channel for a long time. It used to be called History Vice, and then suddenly I decided to change the name, and then decided to go to podcasting because I hate video editing. So then I just decided, well, why don't we just put those previous episodes on YouTube, on audio. So I did that recently, and so I plan to do a few more. I've put up the first 3 episodes of the podcast so far, and now the podcast, I believe, has 51 episodes. So I want to put all of them up eventually on YouTube, so you can access them on YouTube or on Podbean, which is the main site. Okay, so there's a nice way to resurrect the YouTube channel. Okay, so this is Thriving City Songs. So those who who aren't familiar with the game, or who didn't see part 1, this is it. It's your standard city builder, but I like the art style. I think I mentioned it before. The art style is really good. Okay, here we go. So let's see. Let me just take stock exactly what we're doing here. The real challenge of this game, I find, is what can I say? The managing of people. So you have your jobs here, gardeners, granary workers, and everything like that. So, but what I find the biggest challenge is getting enough people so that every job can be done. And a lot of times I'm finding I have, at least the way I've played it, is you have to manage, like when the winter comes, ban everyone from farming. Don't let them be farmers anymore. So then it allows everyone to do other jobs, which I don't really care for that system too terribly much, because not everybody who's a gardener can suddenly become a scholar, because you have scholars who research technology. So really, that's not how life is, unless he's a true Renaissance man. But anyway, so I think I mentioned that in the previous episode, so I don't want to belabor it too much. But here we go. So okay, so here I have only 16 people. I have enough houses here for 32 people. We have one vagrant who, if there are vagrants, they can also start causing crime. Here we also have a fire tower, which these are very crucial, as you can imagine. Okay, so lumberjacks are doing their thing as well. We have a lumber cabin here, which in turn there's a warehouse which stores stores resources. So fairly standard city builder. Okay, so as we're going into that, and as the live is going, and as we are playing, I will continue reading. Recently, I've wanted to do this project, started doing the live stream. I started researching a lot about the Song Dynasty. I still have a lot more to do, but eventually, sometimes the perfectionist like me needs to actually sit down and actually do the project instead of researching the project. So I have done some research from various scholars, various books on the Song Dynasty. So first of all, what is the Song Dynasty? Actually, to be perfectly honest with you, I think before this game came out, I didn't know about the Song Dynasty. Heard about the Han, heard about the Qin, heard about the Ming, heard about the Yuan Dynasty, but I don't think I heard about the Song Dynasty. So what is the Song Dynasty? Well, first, let's give a time frame. So the Song Dynasty lasted from the years 960 to 1279 AD. And so shortly before the collapse of the Song Dynasty, it split in the year 1127, it split into the northern and southern Song. And this was when the Jurchens took over the northern Song capital of Kaifeng. I'm probably going to mess up the Chinese pronunciation, but I believe it's Kaifeng. So that is according to Peter Lorge. So, just so you know, the music playing in the background is soundtrack from the game, but it's playing in the background in Steam. One complaint I do have about the game is that every single year that passes by, it plays the same soundtrack, it plays the same song every time, and the soundtrack, there's no real variety to the soundtrack when you play the game, so I like playing the music in the background, so then that gives a little bit more variety to what you're hearing when you play. So, one question is, why the Song Dynasty? Obviously, this would be a question for the developers, but Peter Lorge gives an idea. Quote, he says in his book, War, Politics, and Society in Early Modern China, he says, quote, 11th century China, which is the earliest part of the Song Dynasty, was one of the high points of Chinese and world culture in almost every human endeavor, whether artistic, intellectual, or technological. Okay, pretty tall order. Okay, so let's get the gardeners and farmers back to work here. We have both things in the granary here. We have our vegetables. We have our grains. It depends on the time frame. The game doesn't really give a time frame so much on what this is. So if this is southern China, it's probably going to be rice, and then but if it's northern China, it's more likely wheat. And then here you can actually change. I believe this one is rice. Well, let's make it rice. But really, it doesn't change any kind of. Oh no, sorry, that's the garden. The change appearance. It doesn't actually affect the gameplay any. Okay, let's make it all the same. Okay, so what should we do next? We have enough people for the houses. So what I want to try and do. I'm doing another gameplay which has a lot more people, and I'm really having trouble retaining people because the Jin, or the Jurchens, also raid my places a lot, so that's a real challenge. So, the biggest thing right now, let's see, what can we do with civil? Funeral home, no, we don't have to worry about that. But you know what? Let's build it, because funeral homes are actually very important in this game. They transport, well, dead bodies to burial grounds like this. So let's build one over here. So the builders will get on that. So the Song Dynasty, as we just read from Lorge, that the Song Dynasty is a real high point in Chinese culture. I don't want to say ancient China. This is more medieval China. Remember, 10th century to 13th century. And if that was Europe, we would call it medieval. So, and Tillman also says this. The very important, and one thing about the Song Dynasty that's very important to remember is this north-south divide. And he says, Northern Chinese culture is conventionally held to be more rational, martial, and political. Southern culture more romantic, peace-loving, and philosophical. From the Southern Song era, so again, 1127 to 1279 onward, there's been a tendency among scholars of China to focus on the formation of cultural orthodoxy that developed during the Southern Song. And so thus Song culture has thus kind of become an orthodox, or measure of orthodoxy, or a yardstick, if you will, to analyze or judge, quote, what is Chinese culture. I mean, obviously it's going to be a lot more complicated than that. But this is a kind of a yardstick, you know, what is Chinese culture? Right, so let's get a quarry in here. I also always like to build a warehouse near resources like that. Oh, we don't have enough lumber. Okay, we got our guys doing this as well. One useful thing, too, is that when you don't... Uh-oh. Oh, I don't have any farmers because they're busy building. Okay. Oh, okay, well, they're busy building, so let's... Also, I can also reduce the amount of people that are working in different industries. So, what's going on with farming? Oh, that's still not enough. Okay, so everyone is... everybody's busy building. Okay. Maybe I'll pause these building projects, actually. I want people farming. I can reduce how many people are in the fire tower. Oh, good. So all the gardens and the fields are working well. Okay. So, just to give a little bit of context, what was happening when the Song Dynasty was created? 960 AD. So, with Rus, for example, in Eastern Europe, the conversion of Kievan Rus to Orthodox Christianity happened very soon after, in the year 988, around the same time as the Song Dynasty was being created and started expanding. And in England, William the Conqueror of Normandy invaded England around this time, winning against the Saxons under King Harold Godwinson. This is in 1066, so about a century later. So this is just to give a general context of what's been going on. By this time, the religion of Islam had been around for 400 years, and then this was a period of Islamic expansion. And the Song Dynasty was created around about a century before the Crusades in the Holy Land. So now let's talk a little bit about the Song Dynasty's beginnings. Again, we'll use Peter Lorge a lot. He's written extensively about that in the book I previously mentioned, but we will also be looking at other scholars as well. So what about the Chinese context? So the Song Dynasty began in the aftermath of the decline and destruction of the Tang Dynasty, which gave way to the Liang Dynasty. So this kind of led to a period of kind of transition, political transition, where various dynasties would take control and be involved in China until the Song was able to take control and consolidate power. This is actually, I am certainly no expert on Chinese history, but this is certainly a, dare I say, confusing time in Chinese history, because there are just so many dynasties and so many political entities involved. Okay, now let's see. Production, food, okay. The unfortunate thing is that you can't really do a lot of things. You can't really build a lot of things until you get about 50 people. Okay, so, but let's, we can actually speed up the time a little bit. What I do want to do, okay, where do I want to expand? Okay, there's a burial point over there. There's clay. Clay is also very important. Okay, there are roads going in there. This place is kind of like an island. I have played on this map before, but there are multiple entry points. So the good thing is that it would be fairly easy to defend because enemies come from the other map, from outside the map. So probably we could build one wall across here, just anticipating. Yeah, so probably build one wall here, and then one wall over there, and then another wall over here. Yeah, I think that would be good. And nothing down here. There's no naval engagements here, which would be kind of fun, actually. I think that would be interesting. Combat in this game is pretty basic. It's just basically send a bunch of guys into a place, and then then they battle out, and then whoever can deal more damage wins. It's not. There's really not really much strategy involved, but it is very important. If you aren't taking care of your military needs and stuff like that, it can be really mess you up. Okay, unvaried diet. Okay, there we go. Okay, so they're bringing their food into there. It's very important not to take the farmers and gardeners off their duty before they deliver the food to the granary. I've learned that lesson a few times. Okay, so back to the history. In the early 10th century, Zhu Wen took over the old Tang Dynasty capital, Chang'an. He killed the Tang emperor and set up his own Liang Dynasty. So this area that he controlled, it was smaller than modern-day China, but it was a significant area, and controlled the, quote, cradle of Chinese civilization, the Yellow River Valley on the Central Plains. But destruction of the Tang got rid of many, quote, aristocratic clans who had dominated Tang court life. So basically the Tang Dynasty was done away with. Okay, let's get the gardeners and farmers off. I need to make sure that I'm managing both the history and the gameplay, because, you know, we don't want to just make it a podcast episode with a blank screen of somebody playing. So there was great disturbance. Power went from China's north to the south. Remember that north-south dynamic. Okay, so what we also need to do is we need to build some more houses. Get the builders back. Get the builders back. Okay, so get the builders back doing it. We might have enough food stored that... Okay, everyone has their food. Okay, they all have. So maybe we can actually let the fields run fallow for a little bit. Crop rotation! You don't actually have crop rotation in this game, but when I have enough food in the when I have enough food in storage, I kind of like to let the farmers just give them a break and let them do other jobs, so that, you know, and then I can just pretend that that we're just doing crop rotation, you know. It works in real life, so why not here? So throughout the 10th century, from 907 to 960, with the collapse of the Tang Dynasty, China was divided into the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms. So that's why it's so complicated. The dynasties, or Dai, but there were also kingdoms, or Guo, in the south and the west. So then there was a capital of Bianzhou, or Kaifeng. So this was not a traditional Chinese capital, though. The Khitans, the more nomadic Khitans, took control of it from a short-lived so-called later Jin or Jurchen dynasty. So by the time of the Song, Kaifeng, this new capital, was not so rich anymore, but imperial palaces were there. So again, going back to this time of before the Song, there was a later Zhou dynasty, created in 951. Guo Wei took over later Han, creating this later Zhou dynasty. And so his successor became Chai Rong, who eventually tried creating a restored Tang dynasty, right? So again, you know, this idea of creating a new dynasty that is kind of a successor of a previous dynasty. You know, when the Roman Empire fell, that was a big issue. Even Moscow, 1,000 years later, claiming itself to be the third Rome, right? As I've talked about many times on the podcast. So there's kind of the idea of trying to create a restored Tang dynasty. So in this era of kind of chaos, it's understandable that people would want to create a new kind of era going back to that Tang dynasty. So again, there's this context of southern China versus the central plains in the north. Okay, now let me go before I forget my game. Eish! Okay, so everybody's building. Okay, let's speed up the building process here. Let me get some lumberjacks. Yup. So everybody is building instead. Okay, so that's good though. We have some more houses already. So there just need to be more people to come in. Okay, I don't have enough lumber for... Oh, okay, good. We got more lumberjacks because now the building projects are finished. Okay, 476 for taxes. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, mortician. Oh, I don't want any morticians. We don't need any morticians. What else do we have? Woodcutter. Okay, this woodcutter job I don't want because we don't have any need for them. The granary workers, we don't need granary workers. Okay, coal stoker, bring that up the top. So basically you're kind of rearranging these. So the ones at the top left are the ones that are of priority. So those are the ones that will have priority. So notice now, yeah, so if I take a gardener here, there's enough for 7 gardeners, right? Not 9, not all 9 that we, if all of the gardens were being used, we'd have 9 gardeners, but we have only space for 7 because they're all doing other jobs. Oh, and we have some vagrants too. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll actually send some guys out to do wood cutting. Oh, good. Okay, and then we have this quarry here. Good. So we have the stonemasons doing their thing. For some later... Okay, and the woodcutters... Yeah, okay, good. So now we have no vagrants, because vagrants will actually... They'll cause crime and stuff. So at first, just like any other city builder, I think, it starts off really easy. You're just collecting some food, you're building some buildings, you're getting some more people. But then as things get more complicated, you'll need to build prisons to keep in criminals and stuff like that. Eventually, as time goes on, you can build Buddhist temples that help reduce crime rate and so on. So vagrants, you kind of need to keep eyes on vagrancy. Okay, firefighter, stonemason. Okay, we have some vagrants here. Oh, wow. Okay, 10 new people came in. Perfect. Okay, can I... Okay, good. So now I can also send the gardeners and farmers back. I guess one unrealistic thing about this game is that it's August already, and we haven't even harvested any of this land because of crop rotation. But they're still gonna generate some kind of crops. They're still gonna do that in the game. But if I'm not mistaken, southern China does have 2 harvests. I know. In South Korea, they also have 2 harvests. I think rice for one, and then maybe like other vegetables and plants for another time, so they can have 2 harvests because the weather it's more temperate, but it's not like here in Canada where it will get down to minus 50 or 30 sometimes. It never gets that cold, so you are able to have 2 different harvests. So I believe in southern China it might be the same case. So I don't know if that would work, but we'll see. Well, at least in the game it works. Hashtag video game logic. So again, what is now China could be divided into north and south. So again, historically, as we read before, the south was more stable and more peaceful. In the north, there was strife between different groups, such as the Khitan, right? So there were nomadic, I shouldn't say kingdoms, but nomadic khaganates and those kinds of groups up there. So China was always having to deal with them in the north, and then eventually, obviously, the Mongols came. So there was kind of this impasse or tension between the north and south. So again, the south being more stable politically, and in terms of the military, according to James T.C. Liu, the south was good at infantry and the navy, but not good at cavalry, which would have been vital in fighting the Central Plains hordes, like the Khitans. And so... But also, it's very important, too, that the Navy was not so much a sea navy, but more a river navy, right? So it wasn't so much of a sea navy, but a river navy. So that the control of the rivers became very crucial by the time of the Song Dynasty. The North had better cavalry, but was less able to hold on to territory because of the long logistics chains and the lack of navies. Also, and tribal steppe cultures had a problem that Chinese dynasties didn't. They had weaker, less centralized governmental institutions, according to Lorge. And also, according to Lorge, the Jurchen or the Jin. So sometimes you'll hear this term, the Jurchen and the Jin, kind of used interchangeably. So the Jin tried to implement Chinese hierarchical central bureaucracy, and later on the Mongols did the same. So even though some of these hordes were taking over parts of China, and eventually the Mongols took over all of it, they still kind of had to adapt to the local system, right? They had to adapt to the local governing Chinese system to make it work over the local population. So, and Chairong and this later Zhou dynasty that we mentioned before attacked Southern Tang. And so again, Southern Tang is not the same as the old Great Tang dynasty that Chairong wanted to recreate. So this is why, for me, this era of Chinese history is really confusing, because you have these dynasties with the same names. So you have Tang, but that's not the Great Tang. That's not this. And so then you have Northern Tang, Northern Song, Southern Song. So these dynasties split up. That's why it's kind of nice studying Russian history, because there's only 2 dynasties to keep care of, to keep track of. There are some different branches, but the same dynasties. Okay, so while we're here, let's put a granary here. And let's put some garden plots, I think. Yeah, why not? Garden plots and also farmland. Uh-oh. So in this game as well, there is a difference between fertile and not so fertile land. There's even some land you can't put farmland on. And let's get a well. Oh, lumber, man. Okay, lumber. We have 4 out of 4 people working there. Okay, well, they're still building. Okay. Eish. So everybody finish building so that you can get more lumber. Huh? Okay, let's close this one here, this funeral home, because funeral homes don't really matter until someone, well, dies. And that usually doesn't happen until maybe, I've noticed, like year 80, maybe, when the game in previous playthroughs. So I guess they assume that everybody here is young, so don't worry about death in your city until the city's 80 years old. Okay, so Chairong attacked the Southern Tang, other Tang dynasty, which was not really Great Tang. So the problem was that Zhou did not have the naval forces necessary to properly attack the Southern Tang dynasty. He was able to attack Tang fleets while they were anchored only. But it was a long campaign to take Southern Tang and the Kaifeng capital. So now, here we get to the Song dynasty, the star of the show. Established in 960. So how did that happen? So according to Peter Lorge and Dieter Kuhn, I wanted to make sure I got my scholar right. So there was a coup by Zhao Guangyin against this later Zhou dynasty and its 6-year-old emperor. Zhao Guangyin was an advisor to the previous emperor and the main inspector of the palace army. But he was eventually called Song Taizi after his death. So Taizi became this Chinese word, supreme progenitor. So again, I don't know if that pronunciation is correct. And I'm not sure the supreme progenitor, I hope that means that he started a dynasty. I don't know, maybe he had a lot of kids, I'm not sure. And he conducted massive campaigns of conquest over the next 2 decades to consolidate control over this new Song dynasty he created. So he took over the Chu, the Jingnan, the Shu, the Southern Han, and the Southern Tang. So this Southern Tang dynasty, he was able to actually take it over. Thanks to his good river fleet was one factor. But Taizi was eventually killed, possibly by his brother, Song Taizong, in November 976. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, so once we get one more person here, we should be able to build more buildings here. What about the city wall? Okay, I can even build city walls. Okay, that's good too. I can maybe start a city wall. I want to start down here because there are 2 ways for the enemy to come in. So these are post road points. So these are areas that that visitors can come through. I've heard that that's like kind of looking at some of the message boards and stuff on Steam for this game. That is one very crucial aspect of this game, is to actually get your to get tourists to come in and convince them to stay. So you can build other things to help your economy. Yeah, okay, we can't really build anything new yet. Oh, I do want to build a well. I do want to build a well. Yeah, put it here, and also I want a fire tower over here too. Yeah, because then they can control, fire towers, thankfully, in this game are actually pretty good. Okay. Okay, very good. So, the legacy, what's the legacy of the Song Dynasty and Song Taizi? So, this political legacy. So, one thing that Song Taizi was able to deal with was warlordism. You may have heard if you've done anything with Chinese. Oh, why didn't I build the road this way? Ah, we already have 2 stone there. Okay, that's fine. We'll make it a confusing road system. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we'll do that. And then, but, let's get the builders off that, those projects. Yeah, okay, and let's everybody just gather resources. Especially wood. We especially need that. Okay, let's get some people doing that. Okay, farmers up here, gardeners up here, woodcutters over here. Yeah, okay, coal stokers. We don't really need coal stokers. But I do like to know how much coal I have, so I can change over here and see what actually kind of resources I have. Fish as well. Fish is another food resource, we all obviously can see a lot of fish here. And I want to get ready for it, so I want to build... Okay, no lumber. Okay, well, let's keep reading. So the creation and the consolidation of the Song Dynasty helped the dynasty deal with warlordism. So not only was Song Taizi the founder of the Song Dynasty, but he also tried to end Chinese warlordism. Remember, this is the time of the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms. So trying to get rid of that system of warlords, which is where you have this warlord over here, this warlord over here. Let's consolidate control over all of that area. So he maintained control over the generals on whom he must rely to consolidate territory. So it was a delicate balance of maintaining control, but also making sure not to make his generals angry. Because remember, if yours a warlord system, and if you have generals, you could be in trouble if you make them angry. Then they'll just become their own warlord, right? After all, he had launched his own coup against the later Zhou dynasty, right? So he's in that situation, so he wants to make sure that he doesn't have the same situation happen to him. So to fix this, according to Chinese history, he offered the generals who helped him take power, he gave them mansions and governorships and luxury, according to Dieter Kuhn. And he replaced them with younger generals who were more loyal to him. And he also increased the size of the military. So he's able to reward the generals that help him, so he doesn't tick them off, and he replaces people. He gets people that are loyal to him. And another thing he also did, he started the examinations of government officials. So in 973, he started supervised palace organizations, or organized exams. So this was the continuation of Tang era practice. So this is the idea of Confucianism, or Wuism in the proper term. Confucianism is more of a Western term. So Confucianism, we'll just use the word Confucianism. So the Confucianist political system in China required, if someone wants to become a government official, they have to be tested. They have to have examinations in Confucian texts and Confucian literature. So how to run a society, what is the ideal society, what is the best way to run a society, right? So they had to do those tests. So the Song Dynasty and Song Taizi, they were not the first ones to do that. The Tang Dynasty started doing that. Oh, nice. Okay, a small settlement. Okay, nice. So another thing to keep in mind when you play this game is that the happier your people are, the more people come in. So what I find, again, that's the real challenge of this game. Like, you can start off really good, like you get a lot of people and it expands really fast, but then if you don't have the infrastructure in place, people start to leave or they die or something. Okay, what I would like to do... Wait, what's going on here? Oh, okay, right. We can't really rotate the city wall. It just goes automatically. So, city wall. Okay, I need 10 city walls first. What I want to do is I want to have one gate here. Instead of 2. I would like to have 1. Because you have to man the city walls. Okay, so I can't build this gate until I have 10 walls. Okay, boom, boom. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, 6. Good. Okay, looks like we have a bunch being built. Okay. Oh, well, okay, yeah. Then we have the rocks over there. Okay, I think I have... Oh, yeah, we have lots of rocks. These quarry guys are hard work, the stonemasons. Okay, we have 4 vagrants, but that's okay. I guess I can just, boom, 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 send them wood cutting. Okay, perfect. So now, what about the Song, this new Song Dynasty's geopolitical context? So the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period after the collapse of the Tang Dynasty, remember that was the context. So according to Kuhn again, quote, when the Song Dynasty came into power in 960, it had to accept a geopolitical system in which no state dominated all of its neighbors, right? So remember, it's a fragmented, what is now China was a fragmented area. 5 dynasties, 10 kingdoms, which are hard to keep track of. So the Song Dynasty was forced to form relationships and alliances with the so-called barbaric nomadic peoples to offset each other, including with the Jurchens, or again the Jins, against the Khitans, who were also known as the Liao. Okay, so before I get into that next section, that's a good stopping point right now. Unvaried diet. Okay, so eventually people start to want things more than just rice and wheat and vegetables. So then they start wanting noodles and tofu and everything. So then you have to get lodges, which create, what did they create? I think dumplings and I guess fried vegetables and a tea house. The tea house is really fun, actually. I like that one. It just delivers tea. So this is a pretty difficult thing to manage with the economy. Okay, so now, okay, so everybody's delivering the food over there. Okay. Looks like they've all done that. Okay, so we got 46. We got 46. We got 320. So here's the challenge. You know, the more people you have, the more farms you need, and then the more farmers you need, and then the less you have. Oh, why are you going all the way up there? Oh, this one's full. Okay, well that would explain it. Let's get another. Let's change the look of this one. Oh no, let's change it back to this one. Let's move it over here because people have to get their grain and stuff from granaries. So let's spread them out a little bit. And then also this parliament over here, this main office, they can also bring the food over there. Okay, this one is full. Okay, that's fine. Okay. With this one, with the fishery, okay, I'll definitely... Okay. Definitely move it up here. Oh, area's inaccessible. Yeah, kind of a weird thing in the game too. If an area is inaccessible, you just need to build like a dirt road there, and then just put it there. So that okay, so winter's almost over here. How many vagrants do I have? Okay. Oh no, that one's already being worked on. Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh boy, everybody's a little bit downcast. Unvaried diet. Okay, well that's the biggest thing. Oh, okay, get everybody off. Let's finish. Okay, I think I'm gonna let the fields lay fallow because it looks like we have enough food for that. But I should build some more farmland though. I should do that definitely. All right. Okay. So now that we've talked about the formation of the Song Dynasty, let's talk about the relationships with the rivals. So after the establishment of the Song and consolidation in the south, there was warfare in the north versus the Liao, or again the Khitans. So just like the Jurchens and Jin, like those two words I'll use interchangeably, I'll use Liao and Khitans interchangeably as well. So there was war between the Song and the Khitans in the late 10th century. So, and this war ended in the year 1005 by the Treaty of Shanyuan, or also the Chanyuan Covenant. That's another name for that treaty. According to Lorge, this marked an end of the expansionary and consolidation phase of the Song dynasty. So for about 40 years of consolidation and expansion, then this treaty with the Khitans kind of ended that time. So there was less political importance of the military, and so this gave way for a civil service to have a more critical role in the government. And this also helped the Song dynasty's culture flourish as one of the, quote, high points of Chinese culture. Remember, we talked about the Song dynasty being a high point of Chinese culture? Kind of a, I don't know if I should say Renaissance, because there's a different context there, but, you know, the Renaissance is kind of seen as the kind of the high point of Western culture, or Western revitalization of culture. So I guess we could use that for Renaissance, but for here, but I don't really want to use that, because Renaissance is kind of like, kind of the rebirth, kind of the rediscovery of culture, right? Okay. So now, what about the Tanguts? There was also a group called the Tanguts. So here we see the Song army innovating. So Lorge says that legions formed as, quote, permanent maneuver elements instead of earlier smaller units. So there was some reform here. There was more gunpowder and ranged weapons and tactics to match. But against the Tanguts, there was the army was kind of squandered in mutually destructive long campaigns against them. Okay, what are my builders doing? Oh man, I didn't put my builders to work. Can I put them kind of at the end? Is there enough people? Oh yeah, there's enough people to do other things. Okay, that's good. Okay, and I don't have any clay miners. I should start thinking about clay. Where's the clay source? That's one thing about here, too. Sometimes the clay sources are really far away. Clay is far away. Okay. Alright. Let's do one over here. Oh, I already did one. Maybe that must have been a part 1 thing. But not close enough. Okay, alright. Okay, so build that road over there. Okay, so I'll get clay going because I need clay for certain resources and certain. Oh, there's also a clay one over here. Okay, I'll do another road over here. Okay, so back to the Khitans and the Liao dynasty. So there was an area called the 16 prefectures in the north. So 16 regions. So the Khitans were able to take them from the Jurchens or the Jin shortly before the founding of the Song dynasty. And the Song dynasty was founded in this context of fighting with the Khitans. So the Khitans and the Jurchens always kept fighting each other as well. And the Song were able to create an alliance with the Jurchen against the Khitan. So again, this context of being forced to form alliances with these nomadic hordes that were on the border of the Chinese territory. Okay, by the border post station is insufficient. Many tourists are waiting. Well, I don't see that. Okay, but anyway, I guess they're telling me to beef up those tourism numbers, bro. Okay, school. So this is an aspect of the game I really like. I don't see it developed too terribly much, but what happens here is you can get this imperial exams. So there will be students taught in these schools, and they will go and do exams. And so then as the students pass and get exams, you get some prestige in your city. You also get some extra money, right? So it's a nice little system. It's a nice way. One thing I really like that the game did, they really implemented the kind of Confucian and Buddhist and Taoist cultures together. I wish there was a bit more detail, perhaps, in that. But perhaps there are some features in the game that I haven't fully discovered yet. But I do like how they implemented that, and that's kind of the idea of the three teachings, the three cultures working together, or the three religions or philosophies working together in China. So we will certainly be talking about that later. Okay, fishery. Oh, that little road has to get built first. Okay, well, let's speed this up a little bit because the builders are busy at work. Okay. Okay, so where was I here? Okay, so the Song and Jurchen alliance against the Khitans, and the Jurchens were able to save the Song from a failed effort to take the Khitan southern capital, right? So the Jurchens looted this capital, but the Song saw it as this as a betrayal. So that's where the alliance kind of went bad. The Jurchens were helping the Song fight against the Khitans, but then they looted the city that they were supposed to take. So then this caused a problem. And so then in 1123, so then the Song saw that they had reclaimed the 16 prefectures. The 16 prefectures, I haven't done so much research on this, so I would like to maybe do more research as we go. So just keep in mind, I don't want to talk about too many, I don't want to talk about just one topic during these things. Like, I don't want to be like in this, in this live episode, I'm going to talk about this. In this live episode, I'm going to talk about that. I do want to have an idea, but I don't want to bind myself so much to that. I would like to kind of just talk about topics as they come along. And in this first long episode, I would like to talk about the beginnings of the Song Dynasty and kind of give introductions. But I want to give more details on other things later. So sometimes I may come back and revisit some of these ideas as I do more research and as I see appropriate. So now we've talked about the Song and the Khitans. So again, that's when the Song Dynasty starts. They're fighting the Khitans. And so what about the Jurchens or the Jin? So according to James T.C. Liu, the Jurchens were, quote, the first steppe or pastoral nomadic nationality in Chinese history to cross the Yangtze River. So crossing the Yangtze River created a rift again between North and Southern Chinese culture, right? So again, this key point of North and South. So they had war with the Song, whose army at this time was not so effective, especially... Oh, wait. Oh, I think my notes were pretty bad there. Okay. So the Song army was not so effective, and the Song army had often been weakened by decades of peace, and kind of like there was inexperience, but also corruption. Oh, okay. These guys want to eat fried vegetables, but I don't have anything here. So this is where people actually start. This is where people's happiness actually gets affected when I don't have enough things in the economy. So let's build a lodge. Next to, let's kind of put it in the center because they have to get the food from the granaries, and then people have to walk and go get them. Yeah, okay, we're good. Okay, where am I now? Okay, so the Jurchens attacked the Song in 1125, their former allies against the Khitan. So the Song had been ineffective against the Khitan, right? And so remember the Songs were fighting the Khitans and needed the Jurchens to help fight them. And so then the Khitans actually went to the Jurchens, who wanted revenge against the Song. So it's like, be careful who your friends are. So the Jurchens were able to take Kaifeng in 1127. So remember, and so this is when the Song government ran to the south. So remember, again, this is the division between Northern Song and Southern Song in 1127. And so then the Jurchens then kind of created their own Jin dynasty, declaring themselves to be a dynasty, right? Again, this idea that if a nomadic culture comes and takes areas of China, they have to create their own Chinese dynasty. They kind of become sinicized a little bit. Okay, let's change the variety of these houses. Okay, there's a few varieties here. I don't know what medieval Chinese city planning was like, but let's get a little variety in here. The way Christian wants to do it is like this. Okay. Oh, and happiness is not good. Okay, there's no real water here. What about here? Water? Okay, so they want water. Who doesn't? Okay, so let's get a well. Over here, yeah. That should be a good place. Okay, so do I have any farmers? No, I don't. Okay, I just have people build and build and build it. Can I move it up? No. Okay, 9 out of 9. Okay. Everybody's building that can build. Okay, now this is full here. Okay. So the Jurchens took Kaifeng and declared themselves to be a dynasty. So this was an existential threat to the Song dynasty. So so there was this kind of idea of trying to capture the dynastic line but not destroy it. So the Emperor Qinzhong of Song and Huizhong, who abdicated during the war, were taken to Jurchen territory, right? So the emperors were taken. So there was continued resistance through Qinzhong's brother, Prince Kang. He formed a, quote, reconstituted Song dynasty as Emperor Song Gaizong. And there was alternating between war and peace with the Jurchens, or the Jin, to consolidate his weakened authority over the Song. So the Song dynasty is surviving, but it's kind of on its last legs. And in this period, the Song dynasty, again, this is the southern Song. This is the Song dynasty that fled to the south. So the Jurchens, again, the Jin dynasty, was able to consolidate, it was able to take control of the northern Song. But they had problems in the south. Militarily, they had more rivers and canals to deal with. Northern China was more open, so it was more suited to steppe armies like theirs, like those of the Khitans and the Mongols as well. And Jurchen attacks in the south were not enough against the Song army that was strengthening. Remember, they were fighting for the existential existence, right? Okay, good. So now I have a lodge here. So they offer takeout service, and they are collecting their vegetables and their grain. Good. Okay, that's my military thing. I don't have a military yet. Once you eat Zhao Long Bao, I think that's a type of dumpling. Yeah, so I need grain for that. Oh, whoa, we have no grain. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna send the farmers back, and let's just send them back now. It's January, but then when February comes around, that's when the farms start operating again. Okay, let's see. Oh, they have water now. Okay, what about this guy? He has water too. Okay, but he's it's kind of lonely out there. There's no neighbor there. So there are a number of things that affect. So there's the basic happiness. And so, ooh, it's pretty low. And then if they have enough coal, for heating, and they have ceramics, so they are able, like ceramics, like folk pottery, and a food bonus. So you can also do this. When you get more advanced, you can get things like dried fish, pickled vegetables, cured meat. And then that increases the happiness. And so these different extra use resources have different effects on different buildings. What I think I want to do, and this is what I always try to do, right? Sometimes it's really exciting to build new buildings and stuff like that. Oh yeah, my city's growing. But the problem is in this game, it becomes really difficult once you... Okay, wait a minute. Where do I want my city gate? Okay, I kind of want it happy medium. Well, it doesn't really matter, really. Let's put it here. Because then I can easily see the clay mine and stuff like that. Okay, let's put it there. And then city wall. We'll start the road system over here. Reconnect it with that road. Good. Okay, let's stop the building. Let's get the farmers going. Okay. Okay, so some of these things I can't build until I reach 150. This ancestral one, which kind of, it's like an ancestral temple. You have to build it near a house. And so then you can call upon the ancestors to get different bonuses. Like increased crop yield and so on. Okay, so the assistants are getting their grain over here. Should I increase the tax rate? Yeah, maybe I will. I can always reduce it. I like to do that sometimes. If people are not happy and if I have enough money, I like to reduce the tax rate. Okay, that's the host. Host, where do hosts are? Where are hosts again? Oh, host, yes, right, okay. Yeah, because each house has a host, and so then they go and get the supplies. And what did she get? She got coal. So it's kind of fun watching actually people get the different resources and go between the different areas. Okay, so back to this. So the Jurchens had military trouble with the Southern Song. And then political, so with its Shaoxing peace of 1142, so this placed Song in a good position against the Jurchens, paying Jurchen tribute, maybe kind of like a protection money kind of thing. So Song Gaizong, so remember the one who was able to kind of resist and kind of help save the Song. Song Gaizong was able to maintain control, and so the dynasty had a history of ruling family assassinations and coups and everything, but here the Song was able to maintain a little bit of control. Maybe it helps that the previous emperor was taken away by the Jurchens. Maybe that actually helped him, I'm not sure. According to James Liu, the north was unrecoverable. Song was too weakened to recover the northern lands from the Jurchens. And this is him writing in the book by Tillman and West. Both he and I'll put my sources in the YouTube description. Both Song Gaizong and the current Jurchen leader Hai Ling had to consolidate control over their lands. So they're both like, okay, we gotta relax here. Okay, good. So now here is a how fragrant. So this lodge was able to deliver a takeout. It looks like of dumplings over here. So the guy has dumpling happiness. They don't have dumpling happiness. Okay, well there you go. But it has takeout needs met, so that's good. Okay, what are we doing here? Assistant. Okay, that's very good. Assistants are the ones that are in the lodges and help deliver the food. Okay, we have a lot of vegetables in there. Yeah, we don't have so much farmland. Okay, good. They're delivering. So, yeah, what I was saying before, sometimes in the game it's very exciting to be able to build and build and build and build. And then you expand so much. But you don't really manage the infrastructure well. So in this playthrough, I want to try just keeping our happy little village in this area, except for the guard posts. So when enemies start coming in, I'll keep them away from the rest of the city, and then that'll be it. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. Okay, I'm running out of clay. I don't have any clay miners, do I? Okay, I'll get a clay mine over here, good, and get a warehouse over there to store the clay as well. Over there. Let's do that here too. So, kind of like in this game, sometimes if you don't manage the resource very well, I've certainly noticed that you run low on things like coal or something like that, and then suddenly if you manage it a certain way, you just get so much. Okay, that's iron. We also need to think about iron. It's over here in these little islands. Why are they there on these islands? Well, Christian, you chose the map. Okay. Okay, hey, okay, but the problem is I can build a bridge out there, but the bridges are a little expensive. It's like 20 units of money for each link, so I think that's a bit much. There's this one, but it's a little far out. I think I'll do it here. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that's expensive. Okay, So back to the Jurchens in the song. Okay, where am I? Okay, and so those are some of the military and political aspects that made it difficult for the Jurchens to maintain control of southern China, the military and political issues. But then there was a social issue as well. The Jurchens, or the Jin, were steppe people, while the agricultural lands in the southern Song were under more settled ethnically Han Chinese. But there was another war in 1161, and the Song won this war due to the dominant, again, naval control of waterways, which the Jurchens could not match. Haifeng was killed by the Jurchens, who tried to sue for peace. So Haifeng, again, was the Jurchen leader. He was killed by his own people who wanted peace with the Song. And the Song were also able to defend their territory effectively. So gone were the days of the Song dynasty running to the south. And the Jurchens were overall, eventually, not successful in maintaining control of northern Song either. So they didn't effectively, quote, entice Han Chinese officials, or turncoats, as James Liu says it. They weren't able to effectively control the rest of China, right? So this is where they had to try and consolidate control over their Chinese conquest by taking people on side. But they weren't able to entice enough of them, so they eventually just collapsed. So, and then the issue of the north. Remember I mentioned the 16 prefectures. So reclaiming the north, according to Peter Lorge, from the Jurchens or the Jin, was an issue in the Song court. And this was an issue or debate between the military and civil court. Okay, get the farmers back. Okay, let them deliver their things. Lack of wheat. Okay, everybody should be getting there. Yes, they are. Good. So you definitely want to keep, with a building like this that serves multiple areas, you want them to be kind of in the middle of where they will be able to. Oh, it looks like a takeout place. Oh, nice. Little table out there. Okay, so you want them to be kind of in the middle where they can easily access the granaries and so on. Okay, everybody, it looks like they're grabbing. Okay, and also they increase the happiness of this one right here. So, how does it affect? Sometimes the labels in the game aren't exactly clear. It looks like it's happiness system, because this one's just outside. Yeah, so happiness system. Oh, wow, it gave like 6 happiness. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so some of these buildings require a happiness bonus, but I don't see why these 2 buildings get a happiness bonus and this one doesn't. I mean, it's just walk like 2 houses down. I mean, get to McDonald's, you have to walk an extra 30 seconds. That's gonna make you depressed? I don't think so. Anyway, okay, here we go. And builder. Builders, get to work. Okay, let's move. Actually, let's do this. Let's move builders to the end so that all the other industries can run. Yeah, we'll have a little bit. We'll have less builders than could be working, but I mean that's okay. I want everything else to be running smoothly. Because already it looks like this guy's fried vegetables. They're almost out of time. So. Okay, so the builders are at busy work, so they have done. Here's the thing. They also have to walk out. They have to go over here. Okay, I won't speed up the time because I want to read. Okay, so the issue of the north, reclaiming the north from the Jurchens, was a key issue. And so there was this issue of paranoia of the court towards the military. So this kind of led to an unstable political situation in the Song dynasty. And this seems to have been a consistent issue in the Song period, where there was always this debate, there was always this argument, like, okay, between the government and between the military. So after the War of 1161, to some Song, it looked like the North was open for reclaiming. There was a campaign in 1163, but this failed, and there was another one in 1204. So this issue of reclaiming the North, that's a very important issue. interesting. So an interesting thing is that previously we mentioned that steppe cultures had a hard time cementing control over areas of China that they controlled, right? And the Jin dynasty had to implement Chinese methods of administration, which to do this necessitated the importation of Chinese texts, literature, and materials. So that was a very interesting aspect. So they not only had to try and implement the politics, but to implement the political system to make it work locally, they had to get the texts. Okay, let's get the farmers back to work here. Not the gardeners, because we have a lot of vegetables. Give me more rice, baby. And so this kind of brings us a local view. So the Jurchens living in northern China gradually assimilated into the local Chinese culture. Peter Lorge wants to put a caveat on this. This is not really Sinicization, where people convert to become Chinese, but he likes to call it more localization, right? So they're localizing, they're adapting to the local culture. So now, here we deal with the Mongols, and here we're kind of coming to the end of the Song dynasty. The southern Song was able to flourish, defended by a northern militarized border with the Jin, and who would be, then the Jin, not only did they lose their latest battle with the Song, like they were able to maintain their control over the north, but they kind of lost against the Song, or the Song were at least able to maintain their victory. Wait, what are these guys bringing over? Why are they bringing rocks? Okay. Anyway, I don't know why farmers were bringing rocks over. Oh, that's weird. Okay. If somebody's played this game and knows some of the more inner mechanics of it, they can mention it. Okay, so the Southern Song was able to flourish. The Jurchens were kind of lost against the Song, so there's kind of the stalemate. The Song weren't able to take over the north again, but the Jin were also kind of, they weren't able to win against the Song either. But now, the Mongols started appearing on the scene. And they started attacking the Jin dynasty. And so the Mongols took a few decades, actually, to take over the Song. Yes, the Mongols destroyed the Song dynasty. But, so, again, the Song were able to defend themselves against the Mongols and kind of keep control for a while because of their militarized border, but also effective Song control of the rivers. And Peter Lorge talks a lot about these details if you want to know more. And so, when it came to the war with the Mongols, so the Mongol Khagan Monke ordered his brother Kublai to attack the Song in 1258, but Monke died, ending the campaign. The Song were initially able to use the river navy to attack the Mongols and push them back, but eventually the Song were unable to stand against the Mongols, as was the case with other powers. And they also underestimated the Mongols. And they didn't engage with them in an effective diplomacy. So Kublai offered peace terms even, but the Song rejected them. Big mistake. According to Peter Lorge, quote, the Song could have worked out a tributary relationship with the Mongol state, end quote. So, my specialty, for anybody who's followed the podcast before, or even on the YouTube channel, that knows that I studied Russian history for a long time. So what allowed many of the Russian states, oh, we got people sick, okay. Let's build an apothecary to get people healthy. Oh, participation. With the Russian states later on that were able to survive the Mongol invasion. So remember, the Mongols also went out west. They destroyed Kiev and Rus. They destroyed many of the caliphates and the other Muslim powers in the Middle East, and they also destroyed Kiev and Rus in Eastern Europe. But so the city-state, or not, I shouldn't say city-states, the principalities that eventually became major Russian cities. So eventually, like Novgorod, Vladimir, and a lot of these other states that survived after Kiev was destroyed by the Mongols. Oh man, we have a lot of sick people here. Oh man. Sucks. Okay, well, they gotta build that. Okay, so we have builders. Okay, yeah, they're building. Can I do this to make it priority? Yes! Okay. Okay. So while they're doing that, and so those states, those Russian states that survived, and eventually Moscow as well. Moscow was a relatively young city by the time of the Mongol invasion of Eastern Europe, and then they created under Batu Khan, they created the Golden Horde, right? But so the Russian states were able to survive by becoming tributary states to the Mongols, right? They didn't resist. They just said, okay, we will give you tribute. Let us run our own systems. Let us keep our religion. All of this stuff, right? So that's what they did. So according to Peter Lorge, the Song dynasty could have all the way on the other side of Eurasia, all the way in China, could have done the same thing, but no, they didn't. They probably felt overconfident, perhaps. Perhaps over. Oh no, we have. Oh man, we have 2 dead bodies already. Okay, well, crisis not averted. Okay. Mortician. Oh, I closed the building. That's why it's not populating. Oh man, that sucks. Okay, we got 2 dead bodies over here. Okay. Oh man. Okay, so we're probably gonna have a few deaths before year 10 even. Remember I said before, you don't have to worry about deaths so much until you're 80. In this case, I was wrong. Okay, so sickness is a real problem. Maybe this is something I changed in the settings where sickness was a bit more of a problem. Because I've noticed that one of my previous playthroughs, that sickness wasn't so much of a problem. My problem was the lack of people. Oh my goodness. Was the lack of people, and also like lack of management for lack of good population management. Okay, I don't have. Oh, excuse me. Maybe I'm sick too. Okay, here we go. So back to the Song Dynasty and their decision to resist the Mongols instead of negotiate a peace and a tributary state relationship. So the issues. So again, this shows the issues between the court and the military separation. The military was kept at arm's length. Again, always an issue in the Song Dynasty. There was politics, infighting, and personal loyalty affecting military strategy. And so Peter Lorge goes into a lot of detail on this, which I won't really go into here. The Song general Liu Zheng defected after being falsely accused of corruption. You know, if you want to accuse someone of corruption, make sure it sticks. Make sure it's right. Reliance on influential, and so there was a reliance on the influential Liu family, which was very important on the militarized border. So here there was kind of this, not necessarily nepotism, but this over-reliance on a particular family. So members of this family eventually defected as the situation became more hopeless for the Song. So it was fine for a while, this militarized border, we were all tickety-boo, everything's hunky-dory, but then eventually resentment started coming in. Human factors are very, very, very important to remember. And all of this. And so then they eventually sided with the Mongols instead. So the Song, and then the Mongols were eventually able to besiege areas that prevented the effective Song control of the rivers. The Song Emperor surrendered to the Mongols in February 1276. But there was continued Song resistance until 1279. Okay, now we've turned to winter here. I'm going to stop reading. Okay, the farmers. Oh boy, how many people died? 6! Oh, and plague deaths. Okay. Oh, come on. Guys, get the doctor's office running. Okay, we have a plague here. Okay, this is serious. Okay, my builders. Okay, Christian, stop reading for a second. Okay, it looks like that. Okay, good. So the morticians are bringing the dead bodies over there. If there are lots of deaths, what you can do, you can get you can research a policy that causes the funeral homes to burn bodies instead of bringing them over here, but thankfully we have the burial point very close. Oh man, 9 bodies to be processed. Sheesh. Okay, I should have built an apothecary before that. Okay, so... Okay, we're almost done with the history part. So there was continued Song resistance against the Mongols until 1279. And there was even a naval battle at the island of Yaishan. The Mongol and Song navies fought, and the Mongols won this, though, showing that they had overcome the deficiencies in naval warfare. The new Song emperor and other officials and courtesans drowned themselves. The Song dynasty was destroyed, and it was added to the Mongol Yuan dynasty. So the Mongol Yuan dynasty was the Chinese polity under the Mongols. So in what was Kievan Rus became the Golden Horde, and that's where the Russian states had to pay tribute to in Eastern Europe. And so then in China, that was the Mongol Yuan dynasty. So according to James Liu, the Mongols, again under the Yuan dynasty, were able to maintain control of China. So due to their use of Chinese collaborators, so they were able to get people on side, unlike the Jurchens in northern China. So this allowed the Mongols to maintain control over their conquered regions of China, again, unlike the Jurchens. So this seems to match the Mongol policy of allowing different religions inside their empire. Perhaps, maybe we'll see more of this later on. Perhaps they also were more effectively able to implement the Confucian system than the Jurchens were. Oh man, what's going on here? Okay, so we have so many plague deaths. Okay, come on, guys, build this thing. Okay, so we have. Okay, so that's the end of the history. Let's focus on gameplay now. Okay, let's just get this thing built. Come on. In the one city game, okay, we got 4 new people. Okay, that's good. In the one city builder game, Workers and Resources, which is kind of a Cold War communist game, really fun, but really challenging too. What you can do is you can kind of cheat, and you can kind of have a building there, and you can wait for builders to build it, but you can also go bloop, and then you can actually have everything be built really fast at extra cost. Okay, come on. Yeah, you're building it. Come on, good job. Good. Okay, good. Okay, now we have a doctor. Let's move the doctors in. Whew. Okay, where are the doctors coming? Oh, man. Yeah, see, that's a weird thing. It looks like these people were builders, and then suddenly now they're doctors. Okay, you instantly graduated. Okay, so that's it for the history section of the podcast. Oh, my goodness. Man. So many people just dropping a plague. Reminds me of that song that came out during... okay, no. Let's see. Oh, my. Almost makes me want to build another funeral home. Okay, happiness is way down here. Okay, I've never had this happen. Okay, new experience. Okay, let's do civil... Oh, man. Now I don't have any clay. Where are the clay miners? Okay, I don't have clay mining. Okay, but building needs to be finished first. Okay, no, let's stop building. Let's get other industries going. Okay, well, we got 1% happiness now. Okay. Are there any empty houses now? No, there's some. These people, this house has 2 people. This house emptied out. Okay, so I guess everyone died. Oh my goodness, yeah, so some of these houses, everyone died in there. Okay, well. Okay, yeah, we're definitely going to build a apothecary, but we don't have enough clay. Yeah, the music is now, we're fighting the plague now. Okay, so what I want to do is I want this one to only have clay. Okay, so more people are coming in. Okay. Okay, so sometimes in cases like this, I just like to speed up the game a little bit. So that was it for the history session. So so I hope you enjoyed it and learned more about the Song Dynasty. So it kind of gives a little bit of background to the game. So the next episodes, again, I don't know exactly what I'll focus on. depending on what buildings I can build, I might be focusing more on the religious side, like the Buddhism and Confucianism, and particularly in Song Dynasty, right? I don't want to go too big and talk about Buddhism in China all of a sudden. I want to talk about the Song Dynasty specifically. Okay, waiting patience, 1 out of 9. Okay, now it's just 1 patient. Okay, that's good. Okay, good. Okay, that person got cured, it looks like. Oh man, I really should have built that earlier. Okay, the happiness is going up. Okay, that's good. Okay, I can build another funeral home here. Okay, there's another burial site up there. Let me build those. Builders, do that, and then priority build, please. Okay, saving. So you'll notice that that music doesn't really sound really Chinese. So what happens in the game is that you can actually get foreigners to come. And they can actually, you can actually build special houses for them. Let's see, where are they? House, foreign house. Yes, so a place specifically designed for foreigners to reside. And so you need a shipping post to get that. So they can bring in special items. They can bring in special items like treasures that help the prestige of your town, of your city, and also they have, and also they can, I believe, they can also spend money as well. And you'll see them walking around as well. So speaking of which, let's have a closer look at some of the character art here. Okay, how many patients? Okay, we have 3. We don't have ginseng. I think sometimes in this, I'm trying to think, sometimes if you get the Taoist building, the Taoist priests will actually go out, and the Taoist priests will actually go out and give potions that will help people live longer. Okay, well, the happiness is slowly going up. We are starting to manage. We are managing. Okay, oh, food is okay for now. No one's at the lodges. Yeah, because everybody's building. Is there a building down here? Oh, this again? This makes me want to build a, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Oh. I'm gonna build a place there. And then not have a lumberjack station there, but I'll have, woodcutters, cut a bunch of wood and keep it in that, in a, warehouse there, so that, yeah, so that if people need to build anything here, they just stay here. Okay, so gate guards over here, I always like to keep them up here so that there's always someone there, because it's kind of a crucial thing. But I want to wait. Okay, woodcutter I can put at the top because there's no one there, so it doesn't really matter, the priority. But I'll keep the gate guards down here. No, I'll do that, and then do that so there's no one there. We don't have to worry about any enemies at this moment. Fatal last words. Not last words, because I said more. Okay. Okay, well, they're building a bridge. Okay, well, that's good. That's good. And then that'll... Okay, I don't have any farmers doing anything. We've just been focused on building the... Good. There was a road there, right? Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, and also what I want to do too, I do want a fire tower. And oh well. Ah! Seriously? Okay, good. Okay, I think that's... Good, okay, and then I'll close... Whew. So, to reduce salary and stuff, what I'll do, because I'm kind of running low on money. Not low, it's not a panic mode or anything like that, but... Good, okay. Okay, that was a bit of a dark time there. Kind of lost a quarter... Well, let's see the people here. Death? Oh, my goodness. 20 people died, and then 20 people died in year 9, and then year 10, 18 people died. Man! So much for my year 80 theory. Okay. Yeah, we lost about a third of our town there, or about half. Sheesh. Thankfully, we were able to graduate builders to doctors right away. Okay, let's see what happens with these bodies here. Because it's kind of a weird thing that happens in this game. Sometimes dead bodies appear in the area where the rocks are. And for some reason, the morticians won't pick them up. And so they just sit there, getting worse, but you can't do anything about it. So let's see what happens here. Okay. Maybe also this particular maybe this particular funeral home is also dealing with that. You know what? I also want to get a lumberjack station over here. Yeah, this building needs, there we go. I want to see what happens there. If not, what I can do is I can use the rock crusher here. It just costs money. I don't want to do that. Okay, let's do it. Oh, they were. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, okay, they did actually remove that body. Okay, so I probably don't... Yeah, because sometimes if that happens, some kind of a bug, I guess, you have to remove that wall or remove that rock before it will actually be picked up. So it's kind of a bug in the game, I think. Okay, we're getting our people back. Well, new people. So now they're worried about one dead body, not half the village. That's definitely an improvement. Okay, let's see what happens with... Okay, well, I don't want to just keep waiting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce one person from the apothecary, so my annual salary went from 6 to 4 there. Unfortunately, some buildings you cannot adjust the amount of people working in them. Like the funeral homes, you can't, so you can only have them open or closed. That's the only option. Good, okay, lumber. Okay, that's good. Because we've been running out of lumber once in a while. Okay, and what I want to do... Just get some wood in there so that if we need to build anything over here, we know that we can, we know that we can, what am I saying? We know that we have the wood right there. Okay, clay. Okay, yeah, this one is giving clay. Good. But this is really far. What I will do eventually is I will set up a system where I have other warehouses throughout, and then they can also collect. They can collect the. They can actually order some supplies, and then they get brought in. The problem is with that, it gets a little harder because, again, you. I guess I have to remove that silly rock. Okay. So then the problem is that if you add like warehouse workers or granary workers, it takes up workers, right? So and again, like I said, that's probably the most difficult aspect of this game. Okay, yeah, okay, we really need to get the farmers back to work here. The grain farmers. Okay, so they'll bring that. Okay, I think that should do it. Okay, so hopefully now... Come on, it's there. Sometimes in this game, sometimes the workers just sit there and there's really no... there seems to be no reason why. I mean, obviously, you know, that's normal for any kind of project, but... 45, okay. Happiness has gone up, but it's still not the best. Okay, I can build farmhouses. Okay, build them along the road. I like to build them along the road. Okay, this is fun. And you know what? I also want a coal mine here as well. Oh, make sure the farmers are working as much as they can. Yeah, lack of wheat. Yeah, they can't really do what they need to do. Yeah, probably have no choice but to increase the taxes, but then that'll affect my people's happiness. Sometimes life is tough. Okay, how much wood do we have there? Oh, we have a little bit. I always want these fire towers to be fully staffed. I don't want any differences except maybe just reduce the number of people. But I don't want to ever shut them down. Iron mine. Okay, there's our first iron mine. And then I guess the iron can be just brought over here. Okay, I really don't like doing it, but we should. Okay, clay. Yeah, okay, since we have coal here, it's within range of a fire tower. Let's also build a folk kin over here. And then this one will take in clay. We need workers there. Right, okay, and then this one will supply coal. Right, so you supply coal, or not coal, clay, because it's already full, so... Okay, oh good, we already have an order for a few... Okay, and here is the... Here's the warehouse worker about to go out and pick up clay and bring it back. Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, we got a bit more. Grain there. That's good. We'll do the same because we have enough vegetables. We do have enough vegetables. Okay, well, I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna save that. I think we're gonna save that, and we are going to, I think, end this live. It was very fun. It was fun tonight. It was nice to get into the kind of the weeds of the history a little bit. And again, some of these topics we'll probably revisit. I just wanted to introduce the history very quickly. So I just wanted to do that very quickly, right? And you know, not go into too many details on everything. So I want to do that in future episodes. So I don't really have a particular plan on what topics I want to talk about in which episode, and we may come back to other episodes as I do more research. It was just time to get something out there and start. So it was very fun, and God bless, and I hope that everyone's doing good, and we will see you next time. Here's the end of the stream. Take care.